So let me just go a little deeper. This is why I created Forgiveness for Peak Performance. And this is where it gets really, 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 really tough for people who are in the deep state. I'll pick on Fauci. Okay. So close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Okay. All right. And you can do this at your level as well. All right. So this is how forgiveness works. Okay, guys. So again, we'll just do this exercise. So Fauci basically, he's a manufacturer. Okay, he's a manufacturer. He manufactured this concept that a lot of people took. Not the vaccine, but the concept or the construct or the frequency. Okay, he manufactured the frequency of, again, taking a science that, say, wasn't quite proven. Just give me a second here, guys. So, again, it's a science that wasn't quite proven, right? So again, it was a distortion. Okay? So, and again, if you want to forget about Fauci, if you want to, okay, you were that parent that loved your child so much you didn't want him, you didn't want them to get hurt. Okay, I'll give you extreme versions. Okay, the bad guy and the loving person, right? That had the purest intent. Okay, either way, it doesn't really matter. So what you did was you manufactured. You're the manufacturer. You're giving out these frequencies. Okay, so Fauci basically gave out those frequencies to what, billions of people. Okay? Fauci and friends, okay, gave it out to billions and billions of people. Right? Frequency misinformation. Right? The effect was the vaccine. It could have been anything else, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so for the parent person, okay, you just gave out your child. You basically didn't allow them to grow. So if you have like 7 kids, for example, 10 kids, whatever, right? Or you do that to your parents, you do that to your clients. I teach this on Healing Mastery, by the way, right? Not to do it that way, especially if you're that suffocating kind of love, or a helicopter mom, as they call it, right, parents? All right. So in this time of resurrection, okay, think of it as a recall. I think that hit home for a lot of you. Think of it as a recall. Okay. So basically, to create, because consciousness is always in harmony and in balance, by the way. Again, consciousness is always in harmony and in balance. Okay. So now, where the way resurrection works, and that's why you want to forgive properly, what'll happen is that wherever that source or distortion was created has to be taken back. So I'll say that again. Whatever the source, wherever that came from, that has to be taken back to, again, settle the debt, right? Or again, it's like an accounting year. Everything has to be accounted for. That's what this resurrection is about. That's why it's so painful. So for Fauci, think of it. He manufactured billions of units of frequency information, right? Fauci and his friends. Now they're recalling their product. Got it? It's such a heavy debt. Again, it is such a heavy debt for people, for them, that they will literally drown in that debt and they'll just perish. You're seeing things are happening. It might not be in the news, but I think it'll show up in the news. The dark state, deep state. Again, that's what they've done, right? They got to own all that debt now. Okay? They got to pay it back. They got to pay you back. Right? The victim side on that is, why did you buy that information? So just because you're a victim, this isn't about, again, like the meek shall set you free. It's not that, it's not that, oh, I'm the victim and I'm going to be paid. No. Why weren't you strong enough? Why didn't you upgrade yourself to that point that you got used and abused that way? So for the parent example, again, 7, 10 kids, all clients, whatever, all that debt, that burden that you laid upon them to keep them safe is all yours now. Again, it's a recall at any level, depending on how awakened you are. Okay, the most minute will be recalled to you. Okay, again, it's not a punishment. It just basically collapses the circuit. Okay, and this is what I'm going to be talking about, or this is what we're going to be doing. So again, that's a lot of debt, and that's what's happening to a lot of people, by the way. Okay? All right. So, forgiveness for peak performance. This is coming up. I don't know if, hopefully, the team has the link for this. It's coming up. I don't know exactly when, but it's a powerful hyper meditation. Basically, the theme is delete the debt, reclaim the edge. Right? So again, and this is for, again, forgiveness for peak performance. If you're new, I would highly recommend doing the forgiveness for eugenesis, so it heals you. Okay, so there's different levels of forgiveness. Again, there's a maybe the team can put that on there as well. The forgiveness for regenesis, healing, holding on, healing your wound and all that stuff from divorce and whatever has happened to you, okay, or whatever you've done to people. This is the next stage. So again, this gets into the Navy SEALs, CEOs, and so on like that. So do you ever wonder why? Do you ever wonder why the strongest among us break the hardest? Right? The Navy SEALs, the CEOs, the icons, the legends. They push their bodies, they discipline their minds, they dominate their field, and one day they vanish. Have you ever noticed that? They burn out, they break down, or worse. This is where like Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, I could name you a list of individuals who aren't here anymore. Right? Robin Williams, because you can't perform at your best while you're dragging the debt of your past. Let me say that again. You can't perform at your best while you're dragging the debt of your past. And again, I'm not talking about, and I'm not just in the emotional sense. I'm talking about the frequency debt that I just talked about. Distorted code still running in your system. From pain you never metabolized, from moments you forgave but never deleted, from patterns you thought you left behind, but your nervous system never did. So let's go deeper. So again, you know who had it all, right? Anthony Bourdain, Robin Williams, Avicii, Junior Say, Chester Bennington, Kate Spade. They reached the top and then they ended their lives. Yeah. Success didn't save them because nothing was ever wrong with their talent. What broke them was still hiding in their frequency field. They made millions laugh. They moved crowds. They won medals. They changed culture, but they were still carrying the trauma, the shame, the memories their bodies never released. They didn't lack passion. They lacked the frequency clearance. Are you running that pattern? Are you wanting success and following their path? Okay. They reached the peak. Again, they reached the peak. But then what happened? But the pain from their past, again, the pain from their past, it kept on. It was still running in the background. It was draining their system until they couldn't outrun it anymore. And that's the part no one wants to admit. So if you don't delete the trauma at the frequency level, it will show up in your silence. And that silence can become deadly. Right? This is what's happening this resurrection. Right? The traumas, you need to know how to forgive that properly for you to ascend to that next level. Right? So again, let's talk about forgiveness, not the therapy kind, not the feel better kind, the XI kind. Forgiveness as an energetic completion, a full system reset. Every trauma, every betrayal, every mistake, it creates a receptor inside your frequency field. Okay. So imagine this. Okay? So what's a receptor? Right? So imagine this. You have to have a receptor. Say you want to absorb potassium. Okay. I'll just biological example. You need a potassium. Okay. There's a receptor cell. There's a receptor that basically goes, oh, potassium. And again, it fits the puzzle piece. And then potassium gets sucked into that receptor, and then you use it. If that receptor was never there, no matter how much potassium you put in your body, you will never absorb the benefits of potassium. Does that make sense for you? Okay. Okay. So here's the deal on, say, you on forgiveness. You have created a receptor at some level. You have created a performance at some level where where um, where whether from your parents, generational patterns or whatever, or your own patterns, you've created that receptor in you. So that receptor needs a source. It needs to thrive. Hence, you keep attracting. So what forgiveness as an energy completion is, it's a full system reset. Every trauma, every betrayal, every mistake, again, creates a receptor inside your frequency field. Okay? You can't perform clean with that still running because you can't lead from power. If your nervous system is still stuck in guilt, shame, or fear, or you're using that as a motivator, because so many people have created so much guilt and shame, they go, well, shit, I'll use that as a motivator to do better. It doesn't work that way. There's so many people. Look at Silicon Valley. A lot of messed up people there. So you think you moved on again, but deep down, your system is still processing that event. And burning energy you should be using to lead, to love, or to live. So, and that's what this hyper meditation is about. It doesn't help you let go. It deletes the receptor. It returns the burdens to its origin. It wipes the pattern that keeps repeating in different forms. By the way, this is why the Navy SEALs still can't sleep. Why entrepreneurs grind harder but feel emptier. Why leaders can't feel peace even when they win. They've been running on pain. It's a motivator disguised as purpose and performance. That's what they teach you. You can't do that. But here's what happens when you truly forgive, when the debt is cleared, okay? At the source. Take a deep breath in, close your eyes. Again, close your eyes, take a breath in, don't comment. This is your time. It doesn't feel like love. It doesn't, and it doesn't feel like peace. It doesn't even feel like freedom at first. It feels like stillness. Like the static's gone. Take a breath in and notice your spine, but you're still adjusting to the quiet. But then in a short time, your breath softens, your nervous system stops bracing for the next attack because there's no story to defend anymore. There's no role to perform, no enemy left to fight. You're just clean. Notice how that feels. That memory may still exist, but the change is gone. The pull is gone, the repetition is gone because the pattern is gone. The receptor is gone, the distortion is gone. That is true forgiveness. It's not an emotional release. You'll get that though. But without what I talked about, it's not gone. So again, it's not an emotional release, but an energetic sovereignty. It's what lets Navy SEALs sleep again. It allows CEOs to stop performing and start leading. It lets creators feel powerful without performance masks. That is what it feels like when your frequency debt has been paid. And for the first time in your life, you're not paying interest to the past anymore. You're not a facade of your success. Forgiveness for peak performance. That's what's coming up for you. Right? So again, what happens in true forgiveness, and this is what the resurrection is about, and we'll take some time to read all of you. Not all of you. Okay. So what happens is forgiveness, it's a forward action. So true forgiveness is literally, oh, I'm carrying the receptor, I'm carrying what you need, because that's what it is, right? They carry, you've gotten divorced and they still latch onto you. Does that make sense? Because again, you're still carrying what they need. So what you go deep inside is basically go, oh, what is it that I'm still holding on to? What is it that why is it that I created the situation in the first place? You look deep inside and you forgive, you take that out, you forgive them. Again, something that you do for the future, for ahead, you forgive them. Okay. And then you feel complete. Okay? You're not half. You feel complete. You don't need those experiences anymore. And then what happens is that they have an opportunity to complete themselves because they have the other half. They don't need you. It's their choice, though, whether they hold on to the receptor, feel complete and do the work, or they go, fuck it, I'm going to go find somebody else. But they won't come back to you. So that's what you need for peak performance. Again, there's two versions of forgiveness. One, if you're just healing, coming on. And then now that you're a peak performer, CEO, Navy SEALs, whatever, and you want to go to that next step, right? This is going to help you. Those individuals, especially Navy SEALs who use ibogaine, again, you want to do this meditation, this hyper meditation. If you want to do like ayahuasca if you want to do ayahuasca for letting go, for addiction patterns, all that, highly recommend doing the Mindscapes Unleashed and or doing this meditation before you do that. Okay.